Every angler's heard it. The fish bite best when the barometer is falling. It's classic fishing wisdom passed down for generations. The idea? Just before a storm, when the air feels heavy and the sky darkens, fish go on a feeding frenzy. After the front, under clear blue skies, the bite shuts down. Many of us have lived this, those magical days when every cast gets hit, usually right before the weather changes. And then there are those painfully slow, sunny days when nothing seems to work. We blame the high pressure, reinforcing what we've always been told. But is it really that simple? Is barometric pressure a magic switch for fish, or is there more happening beneath the surface? Today we'll break down what's really going on and how you can use it to catch more fish. Let's get started. Grab a seat and let's dive in. Before we dive into how barometric pressure affects fishing, let's first break down what barometric pressure actually is and why it matters. It's a term you hear all the time in weather reports, but what does it really mean for us and for the fish we're after? Picture the air around us as a massive, invisible ocean, stretching from the ground all the way up to the edge of space. This ocean of air is constantly pressing down on everything below it, including your favorite fishing hole, the trees, your boat, and even you. When meteorologists talk about high pressure, they mean there's more air stacked up above us, pushing down with extra weight. Low pressure means there's less air above, so the push is lighter. These changes might seem tiny, but they have a big impact on the weather we experience. Now here's where it gets interesting for anglers. Fish don't live in air, they live in water, which is about 800 times denser than air. That means the pressure changes they feel from the atmosphere are much smaller compared to what they experience just by moving up or down in the water. For a fish, swimming a few feet deeper or shallower in the lake changes the pressure around them way more than any shift in the air above. So, while we might notice a storm rolling in, fish are more tuned in to what's happening in their watery world. Fish have a special organ called a swim bladder, which helps them control their buoyancy. This organ is super sensitive to changes in water pressure, allowing fish to stay at the right depth. But it's much less sensitive to the relatively tiny changes in air pressure above the water. So, despite what you might hear at the bait shop, fish aren't getting headaches or feeling sick just because the barometer drops. They're not reading the weather report or worrying about the numbers. What really matters is that barometric pressure is a signal for bigger changes in the weather. When the pressure drops, it usually means a front is moving in, bringing clouds, wind, and sometimes rain. When it rises, you can expect clearer skies and calmer conditions. High-pressure days are often sunny and still, perfect for a relaxing day on the water. Low-pressure days can be stormy, windy, and unpredictable. These changes in weather are what really affect fish behavior, not the pressure itself, but the conditions it brings. Fish respond to the environment around them. They don't care about the barometer reading. They care about how the light, wind, and water movement change their world. That's what triggers them to feed, hide, or move. It's the shifting light, the choppy water, and the way the wind stirs up the surface that really get fish moving and changing their habits. So, next time you're out fishing, don't just watch the barometer. Pay attention to the sky, the wind, and the water. That's where the real story is told, and that's what will help you catch more fish. Let's talk about falling pressure, a phenomenon that every seasoned angler pays close attention to, even if they don't always realize it. When the barometer starts to drop, it's not just a sign of changing weather. It's a signal that the underwater world is about to come alive in a big way. But why does falling pressure fire up the fish? It's all about how the environment shifts both above and below the surface. As the pressure drops, fish sense the change and their instincts kick in. As a low-pressure system moves in, thick clouds roll over the landscape, dimming the sky and casting shadows across the water. The world feels different, quieter, more mysterious, and for fish, a little bit safer. Predator fish like bass and pike, which usually lurk in deeper, darker water, suddenly feel more comfortable venturing into the shallows. The low light gives them cover, making it easier to ambush unsuspecting prey. At the same time, the wind often picks up, ruffling the lake's surface and scattering sunlight. This extra chop on the water further breaks up visibility, giving predators an even bigger advantage. The wind does more than just stir the water. It pushes floating debris and plankton toward the shore. Baitfish follow this food source, gathering in tight schools near the edges of the lake or river. And where the baitfish go, the big predators are never far behind. It's like a moving buffet line, and the predators know it's time to eat. This combination of low light, stirred up water, and concentrated bait is like ringing a dinner bell underwater. Fish that were once cautious become bold, turning the shallows into a feeding frenzy. During these moments, fish get aggressive, chasing down lures and striking at baits they might ignore on a calm, sunny day. It's the perfect time for anglers to throw moving baits and cover water quickly. That's why the bite can be absolutely wild right before a storm hits. The fish sense the urgency, knowing that conditions are about to change. But this window of opportunity is short-lived. Once the front arrives and the rain starts pouring, the frenzy usually comes to a sudden stop. Fish hunker down, and the action fades as quickly as it began. Fish are experts at sensing these changes. They feed hard while they can, taking advantage of the brief period when conditions are just right for hunting. So if you notice the sky darkening, the wind picking up, and the pressure dropping, don't hesitate. Get on the water, gear up, and fish fast, because the clock is ticking. Cover as much water as you can, use moving baits like spinner baits or crank baits, and take full advantage of the short but intense feeding window. Timing is everything in fishing, and when the dinner bell rings, you don't want to miss your shot. Now let's flip the script. High pressure, bluebird skies. After a front, the wind dies, the sun blazes, and the water turns to glass. Fish don't disappear, they just get cautious. Bright sun makes them feel exposed, so they retreat to deeper water or thick cover. They're not hunting, they're hiding. Calm water means fish can see you and your lure from far away. They get spooky and picky, ignoring big, flashy baits. Feeding windows shrink to early morning and late evening. The rest of the day, they're in survival mode. To catch them, you need to slow down, downsize your tackle, and fish deep or tight to cover. It's a different game. Patience and precision matter most. Don't expect a feeding frenzy, but you can still catch fish if you adapt. High pressure isn't hopeless. It just requires a new approach. Change your tactics, and you'll find success. Fish aren't reacting to the barometer, they're reacting to their environment. Low pressure means clouds and wind, which make fish feel safe and bring food closer. They get bold, hunt aggressively, and take advantage of easy meals. High pressure means bright sun and calm water, making fish feel exposed and cautious. They hide deep or in cover, conserving energy and waiting for better conditions. It's not about pressure itself, it's about comfort and opportunity. If you think it's just the barometer, you'll miss the real clues. Pay attention to light, wind, and cover. Predict where fish will be and how they'll act. Adapt your tactics to the conditions, not just the pressure reading. That's the real secret to consistent fishing success. Think like a fish, not like a weatherman. The more you understand their world, the more you'll catch. Understanding fish behavior is just the beginning. Actually, getting them to bite is where the real challenge lies. Every angler knows that the highs and lows of fishing are often dictated by the weather and the pressure systems moving through. It's not just about luck. It's about reading the conditions and making smart choices on the water. When the barometric pressure is dropping, that's your cue to get aggressive. Fish sense the change and often feed more actively, so this is the time to cover as much water as possible. Use moving baits and fish at a faster pace to trigger reaction strikes. Lures like spinnerbaits, crankbaits, and chatterbaits really come into their own in these conditions. Their vibration and flash can draw fish from a distance, especially when visibility is low or the water is a bit stained. Focus your efforts on wind-blown banks and shallow flats. These areas often concentrate bait fish, and predatory fish will be close behind, taking advantage of the commotion and the easy meals. Don't hesitate to speed up your retrieve. Fish are more likely to chase down a fast-moving bait when they're in an active mood, so keep your presentations lively and energetic. But when high pressure settles in and the skies clear, everything changes. Fish become sluggish and less willing to chase. This is when you need to slow your approach way down and focus on precision. Use your electronics to locate deep structure, submerged brush piles, or heavy cover. Fish will often tuck tight to these areas, seeking shelter and security. This is the time to downsize your gear, switch to lighter line and smaller lures. Think finesse worms, drop shot rigs, or compact jigs. Subtle presentations are key. Work your bait slowly and methodically, keeping it in the strike zone for as long as possible. Sometimes just a slight twitch or pause is all it takes to tempt a wary fish. Bites will be much more subtle during these tough conditions, so pay close attention to your line and rod tip. Even the slightest movement could mean a fish is interested. Remember, early mornings and late evenings are often your best windows for success. Fish are more likely to feed during these low-light periods, regardless of the weather. On tough days, patience and precision are your greatest allies. Take your time, make every cast count, and don't get discouraged if the bite is slow. The most successful anglers are those who adapt their approach to the ever-changing conditions. Watch the sky, feel the wind, and adjust your tactics as needed. Matching your tactics to the weather can be the difference between a slow day and a memorable one. Don't be afraid to experiment until you find what works. Stay flexible, stay observant, and you'll find success even when conditions are tough. That's the true secret to mastering the highs and lows of fishing. What does science say? Studies confirm fish change behavior with pressure shifts, especially their depth. Bass, for example, move shallow as low pressure approaches and go deep during high pressure, but it's not a universal rule. Species, season, and water type all matter. Catfish might get active in high pressure during summer, while bass prefer low pressure in spring. Science shows pressure is important, but not the only factor. Water temperature, clarity, and food all play a role. The barometer is a clue, not a guarantee. The myth says a falling barometer flips a switch in every fish. The reality? Fish care about comfort and opportunity, not numbers. Low pressure creates perfect feeding conditions. Clouds and wind make them feel safe and bring food close. The barometer doesn't make them hungry, it just sets the table. We remember the days, the pattern fits, and forget the exceptions. Fish are driven by instinct, not atmospheric rules. Some days they hunt, some days they hide. Let go of the myth, and you'll see the bigger picture. Fish behavior is complex. Use every clue you can. So what's the takeaway? Use barometric pressure as a clue, not a rule. Dropping pressure, get aggressive and fish fast. High pressure, slow down, fish deep, and use finesse. The best anglers adapt to every clue: pressure, temperature, wind, clarity, and season. Fishing isn't about a magic bullet. It's about solving the puzzle each day. The pressure is just one piece. The best time to fish is whenever you can. Don't let the forecast keep you home. Every day on the water is a chance to learn and improve. Watch the weather, but watch the water even more, and you'll find success.